Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning, Era. You are visible. Your screen is not visible yet.
Am I audible?
Yes, Era, you are audible and your screen is also visible.
Yes. So today we will start with creation of multiple ledgers. Just a second. Yes. So in previous class, we discussed about what are single ledgers, how do we create and how do we go to the screen of single ledgers, right? And I'll just brief you all about this. We just go to this gateway of Tally, and on this we have accounts info, and on accounts info page we have ledger creation. Right now we have two options, single ledger and multiple ledgers. Right now we can create single ledgers also under one group if we need. Single ledger purpose is basically if we want to create any ledger account during the financial year, right? For example, we just tied up with some supplier, maybe supplier A, and we want to create the ledger account of supplier A, and then we will create during the year because we have started making purchases maybe mid of the year, say June 2025, right? So we can use single ledger option in that case. As you can see, there is create option, display option, and alter option. Create means I'm creating a fresh ledger. Display means that I am viewing the ledgers already created, whether during the year or in the initial year. Alter means if I want to alter any information on these ledger accounts already created. Right. Now, what is the purpose of multiple ledgers? Multiple ledgers means that I want to create many ledgers together under one group. Right. Maybe, for example, I have a debtor group. This is my main group pre-created by Tally. Right. We had certain groups under these debtors, sundry debtors, I would say. Sundry debtors is a pre-created group by Tally. Under this, I have maybe A company limited, right? Then we have B company limited. Then we have Z company limited, right? All these three companies will come under sundry debtors because I am making sales to these three companies, right? Not on cash, right? They are my debtors, which will give me money on my sales later on, right? So these are called sundry debtors group, and under the sundry debtors group, I will create these three ledger accounts: A company limited, B company limited, Z company limited. So when I'm creating multiple ledgers under one group and I need to save time, I will use multiple ledgers, right? Again, see, if you can see, for single ledger, I have this C as the shortcut keyboard key, and for multiple ledgers, I have this R for the shortcut key. So if I am on this ledgers page and I press keyboard shortcut key, keyboard shortcut means if I simply press C on my keyboard, my single creation page will open. And if I press R, my multiple ledger creation page will open, right? So let us see how it looks like. We already saw how the single creation page looked like. See, this is the single creation page, right? If you can see, I'll just zoom a little. This is the single creation page, right? We have name. I'm just repeating, right? Then we have name, company's name here, right? And then alias means any short name if I want to put. For example, if this is Varinder's account I'm creating, and alias I want to put as V, right? For my accessibility, so I can put it. Then we have under which group. If it's a debtors group, we will put it under sundry debtors. If it's a creditors group, we will put it under sundry creditors, right? Then we have, this is all general information about Varinder. That what is the name of Varinder, what is the name of Varinder, address. Then we have country details, address details, bank details if required, right? And PIN code. And then we have any PAN number required to be filled for the particular purpose. Obviously, in case of sundry debtors and sundry creditors only, we must be requiring this PAN number, right? In case of purchasing or selling. And if I have any opening balance means suppose I'm creating Varinder's account in the beginning of financial year, maybe on 1st April 2025, and this Varinder exists in my company as a debtor since maybe June 2024, right? So it is possible that it has certain opening balance. When I say certain opening balance, that at the end of the previous financial year. What was our previous financial year? 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. On this 31st March 2025 date, right? If I have some balance of Verinder as sundry debtor, it will be carried forward and becomes the opening balance on 1st April 2025, right? So these are the opening balances we say, which we carry forward during the next financial, right? So this is the single ledger page. Then we have opening balance. This is how it is presented. See, we are talking about the TallyPrime, and we are working on educational mode. So I can say that educational mode may we can't alter the year, so that's why we are able to see the opening balance as on 1st April 2019, right? And as you can see, if I want to quit this page, these are the buttons already highlighted which I have. If I want to quit this page, I have to press Control plus Q. See, if you can see this, I'll zoom it a little more here. If you can see, quit has two double underlines. Any keyboard shortcut on Tally page which has double underlines means we have to use control along with it, right? And if I have to accept this page, if I want to accept this Tally page and I press Control plus A directly, right, this page will be directly accepted, means I do not need to press enter. For example, I am entering the details as Varinder. See, obviously when it exists already, so we will not create Varinder's account, we will alter Varinder's account, right? What we will alter? We will already select the Varinder's name, ledger account, and then we will alter the details of opening balance. And if I directly press Control plus A on my keyboard, this page will be automatically saved, right? If I do not press Control plus A, then what will happen? I will be here, I will be feeding this amount, then go to here, this tab, then it will ask these details. If I do not want to fill these details, it's already pre-saved. So what I do, keep on pressing enter, and I reach this after this, then I reach this inventory values are affected, then I reach this name, address. I will keep on pressing enter so that I can move, and finally I will reach here where a dialog box will be received that do you want to save or no. If I press enter, it will be yes, and if I press N, it will be no. And if I directly I want to save my time, I don't want to go to all these 5, 6 hassles. So what I'll do, after filling the opening balance, if I directly press Control plus A, this page is saved. I do not have to move along all these details, right? So this is the purpose of this shortcut key. If I want to directly save after filling the opening balance, I want to directly save the page and I do not want to hover around all these details. After entering this opening balance, I will press Control plus A. Again, as you can see that there is a beautiful thing in Tally that it tells me that where I'm leading. Tally means we are at gateway of Tally, then we are at accounts info, then we are at ledgers, and then we are at ledgers creation. So we have a chain of all pages which is shown at the bottom of Tally screen every time, right? Now we have already discussed this. Yeah, I would like to read this part which is on ledger creation page. This under means we are discussing this part. So it has few shortcut keyboard keys along with this. Select the parent group for the ledger from list of groups. Parent group means I was creating or altering whatever the Varinder's account. I was altering or creating this Varinder's account and I want to decide under which group it comes. So the group is called the parent group. If it is sundry debtors, it's a parent group, or the sundry creditors. Select the parent group for the ledger from list of groups. If the group is non-existent, you can create new groups by pressing Alt plus C. So this means I was saying that Varinder comes under sundry debtors or sundry creditors, right? If suppose it is neither coming in sundry debtors or sundry creditors, I'm just giving you a hypothetical example, and I need to create some separate group for this which is not predefined in Tally. A new group needs to be created for this Varinder and which is not predefined in Tally. Then what is the keyboard shortcut key? The keyboard shortcut key is Alt plus C. If I am on this single ledger creation screen, I repeat, and I want to create a new group. I'm creating a ledger. I need to create a new group for this ledger, which is not predefined at Tally. Which keyboard shortcut key I will use? Here, I will press Alt plus C and I will be able to create a new group, right? For this veranda. So this is the keyboard shortcut for this creation of parent group. This will bring a group creation screen as explained under group creation step. Upon creation of the group, the cursor will return to the ledger creation screen, picking the newly created group. For the present illustration, sundry creditor group has been selected from the list as shown. Now this option will come for creditors ledger account and debtors ledger accounts only. I said no, when we are talking about maintain bill by bill, right? This will basically it is somewhere here maintaining bill by bill. It's not shown here. So when I talk about maintain bill by bill, right, it will come only for sundry debtors or sundry creditors, right? Address we have already discussed. The state, pin code, provide bank details, enter PAN number, sales tax number. See, on pressing enter, accept yes or no, message appears on the bottom right corner of the screen. Press Y or click on yes to save the new ledger account. A blank screen would appear to enter the details of the next ledger. So this thing we have already discussed, which I told you that there is a dialog box after entering all the details. There is a dialog box accept yes or no. If I press Y on my keyboard, I will accept the details and it will lead to a new single ledger creation screen. What happens if we press yes? A new single ledger creation screen means this empty screen will appear again after saving Varinda's detail. And if I press no, we will keep on staying on this screen, right? So this is single ledger creation. We can create, we can display. In display, we will not be able to alter any details. And if I need to alter the details, we can just press A on the single creation and we can alter the details which are pre-filled. All clear till now? Okay, so we will move to multiple ledger creation, right? Just a second. Yes. So we were discussing single ledger. Now we will discuss the multiple ledgers. This was a single ledger creation screen, right? Now we will talk about how can we create multiple ledgers in Tally. Now, this is how the multiple ledger screen looks like, right? This screen makes the work of the accountant easier. It helps one to create multiple ledgers accounts under one group selected from the list. So this is the multiple ledger screen. We can see as it is already written, multiple ledger creation, right? And this is the first thing we have to do is under group. We have to select what we have to write or select from the list of groups. Again, if I need to create a fresh group which is not presented in this list, I will press Alt plus C for creating a new group, right? And if I want to select from the list given, I can definitely select. So for example, I am selecting this cash in hand, or I would say I select this bank account. So I have selected this bank account group, right? Now, this is my main one group and I have 2-3 bank accounts in my company's transactions, right? Means there are few bank accounts in which I'm receiving payments, few from which I'm giving payments, kind of this, maybe whatever. Now, suppose name of ledger ABC Bank Limited, right? Then I can say number 2, maybe XYZ Bank Limited. So I am creating multiple ledgers of different banks I'm dealing with, I'm associated with under bank account, right? So what is the purpose of multiple ledger? If I have one main group and I have to create multiple ledgers within that group, I can save my time by pressing keyboard shortcut R on my this ledger creation screen, and I will have this multiple ledger and I'm able to solve my query and save my time. I can simply select bank account and create multiple ledgers together. Now, if I need to save it, I will press enter and there will be again a pop-up screen here, why or no, right? and I will select Y, and I will be able to save these multiple ledgers in single time, right? I do not need to create again ledger and save it, and then again single ledger and then save it, right? It will save my time. I need to select one group and create multiple ledgers under it, right? Now let me see some example relating to it. Yeah, we have already discussed the bank account, right, and the multiple ledgers. Now we need to check how can we alter the details of multiple ledgers. Before that, I will just tell you one more thing, that we can also put the opening balances in the multiple ledgers like we used to put it in single ledger. Right, now let us read this. Debit or credit, enter the opening balance for the ledger. If any, at debit or credit field, enter D or C if you have opted to maintain bill-wise balance for the company. See, usually we know bank account will have a debit balance, right? We will not be having like negative balance. It will be otherwise considered as bank overdraft. It will come under bank overdraft if we have taken any loan against our already previous money saved in bank. So there are certain groups which are already saved with this debit or credit, means the opening balance will be by default debit or by default credit. So, but for example, I am creating, this is valid where I am creating maybe a P&L account, right? Now, P&L account can either have debit balance or it has credit balance. Credit balance is in case of profit, debit balance is in case of loss. So, if there is any outstanding loss from previous year and I need to put opening balance of this P&L account, P&L ledger account, right? This will have debit balance if it was lost previous year, right? If we had net loss previous year, then the P&L account has debit balance, right? And it will be regarded as loss brought from the previous year to this current year. Now, if we have profit, then we will put CR, credit balance, right? So this is, again, there is an option while putting the opening balances, right? If you have opted for maintain bill-wise bill balance for the company, right? If you remember, everyone, that when we were configuring the accounting features and the inventory features, not the inventory, but basically the accounting features, we had the option, do you want to maintain bill-wise bill for the company? So if we already checked it as yes, then we can put further details regarding sundry debtors and creditors, right? Now, if I have already created, suppose this bank details which I am talking about, they were already created, right? These bank details which I'm talking about, these were already created in my previous year. And if I need to alter any details, for example, I was dealing with these two banks previous year, and now my account is closed in this XYZ Bank Limited. I need to alter these details, right? So I can just open this multiple ledger. I just need to put under group banks, all the list of banks will come here, and I can just select this XYZ and delete it by pressing delete. The option will come, right? So this is what is alter for. Or if I need to change certain balances, opening balances, right? For all the banks, of course, all the opening balances for the banks will change, right? So I can alter the details. So this was all about multiple ledgers, right? Now there are certain shortcut keys also on this multiple ledger screen, and as you can see that it is F4 parent. This button enables you to change the parent group in under group option, right? If I press C, for example, I would say that for example, that there is a company called ABC Company, right? They are under the group called Sundry Debtors, right? Now, suppose this ABC Company by chance make certain sales to us also. We are getting certain, by chance we have opened a certain chain of product, and ABC companies supplies me also that chain of product. Now they were my sundry creditors in 2024-25, right? And their balances were all settled in this financial year, and now they have become my suppliers because I have opened certain new chain of product and I need raw materials for that. And suppose ABC company, who were earlier debtors of mine, my company, now they have become suppliers and I've purchased certain raw materials from them, right? So now they become my sundry creditors, right? Because I'm purchasing on credit. So I have this ledger creation already done with this ABC Company Limited in this previous financial year, and I need to change the parent group of ABC Company. So under the multiple ledger or single ledger, whatever screen you are having, I can press Alter. I can select the sundry debtor. Suppose I need to go to this single ledger only because sundry debtors will have then a list of all the debtors, and I need to change remember, I need to change the group of only one debt, right, as sundry creditor. So I will go to single ledger, right? Single ledger I will select Alter, and if I need to change the parent group, I can press F4 and I can change it. Obviously, we are talking about multiple ledger screen, but here the examples by chance got into the single ledger screen. But yes, of course, sometimes by chance, if I have decided, if for example, I have these multiple ledgers and I've cross-checked that the main group was wrong. The group I have selected that was wrong and I need to change that. I can just press F4 and the main group will be changed, right? So this is just the example that how we can change. If in case of multiple ledgers, I have selected the wrong group and I need to change that group, I can select this F4 shortcut keyboard key and I can change the parent group. And this was the actual example, the relevant example, but it was somewhat related to single ledger thing. Now, what is F8? F8 is a shortcut keyboard key. This button lets you skip the opening balance. For example, I want to save these keyboard shortcut keys are having a purpose. These are only for the shortcut. Just a second. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. So I was saying that these shortcut keyboard keys are basically for the saving of time. If the accountant wants to save time, the shortcut key should be on his left hand. He should be ready with this. Now, F4 is just to change the parent group. F8, if I have no opening balance for that current ledger. And when we don't have the opening balance, when we are creating, this keyboard key is relevant when we are creating the ledger during the year, right? When I'm creating a ledger in between the year, then I do not have any opening balance for that. Obviously, opening balance is only on 1st April 2025, right? So I need to skip those details. I will press F8, right? It will automatically skip that tab, right? Now, what are the groups? Under which groups comes which ledger? These are the basically just to be thorough with our knowledge, we need to just revise this. We have liabilities, we have assets, we have income, we have expenses. We have already discussed in this previous class, but we will just make a thorough reading on this so that we can just brush up on our skills. Now, see, this is just to make us thorough with the parent group and the subgroup and the subgroups. Right? We have parent groups, then we have subgroups, we have subledgers, and so on. Right? So the groups are the subclassification of these entities. I will just roughly draw. See, there is a profit and loss account. I'm writing in short here. Right? This is a profit and loss account. Here we have debit, and here we have credit. And this is the balance sheet. See, just remember, profit and loss account is during the year. Whatever transactions related to revenues and expenses, these are during the years. See, all expenses come on debit side, remember, and all incomes come on credit side, right? Balance sheet, liabilities are here and assets are here. Balance sheet is at 31st March 2025, and this is for financial year 2024-25. Now, expenses include direct and indirect expenses. Incomes include direct and indirect incomes. Now, this profit and loss account also has two categories that we will discuss later, but in Tally, when I'm talking about financial statements and its presentation, it will give me a one go of profit and loss account. So this is the general classification of these four things: expenses, incomes, liabilities, and assets. Now, we have taken certain few examples, maybe expenditure account. Now, the groups, subgroups are decided in a hierarchy. This arrangement helps in automatic preparation of final accounts. Expenditure account. Groups: employees, salary, and wages. So main group is employee, salary, and wages. Suppose if this group is not predefined, we will create this main group and then we will create these ledgers under these groups, right? So employee, salary, and wages. I have this main group, salary as first ledger, then wages as another ledger in this main group. Right. Then another group I have incentives. This incentives is not a pre-created group by Tally. So I can have this main group creation and then I can have ledger creation of monetary and non-monetary incentives. These which I have circled, these are ledgers I am creating, right? And this is the main group I am creating. Right. Now again, third group is bonus. Ledger created under this is statutory bonus and ex gratia bonus, right, on the basis of performance. Now, this was just the main classification: groups and subledgers, ledgers and subledgers. Now, formation of a gap decides whether a ledger account would be a revenue item or capital item. You need to know the difference between revenue and capital item. Capital item is something which affects the organization in long term, right? And revenue item is something which affects on short-term basis, right? Or I would say regular basis. So if I say I need to know whatever transaction I'm having and whatever transaction involves certain ledgers involved to be created, that ledgers should be decided whether they are revenue related ledgers or they are capital item related ledgers. If they are revenue item related ledgers, they will affect P&L account. If they are capital item related ledgers, it will affect balance sheet, right? BS stands for balance sheet. So before creating ledgers, we should have the knowledge whether our item is a revenue item or it is a capital item. For example, I say that I am making sales, right? So sales is a revenue item. Not only because it is short term, it is like a regular. It's affecting day-to-day operations. So whatever is related to day-to-day operations is a revenue item. It will come under P&L account. This is the income. So it will come here, sales, right? This was one example. Then I'm saying that cash is deposited in my account. Now cash is something which I hold for long, maybe as cash or in bank, right? So it is not related to day-to-day operations. It's a long term. It's a kind of asset which will come under balance sheet here, right? So this is how we talk about revenue and capital item. Now, again, these are the lists. And if we all remember, we already read this list just starting before the ledgers. We will quickly revise it. Liabilities, capital account, it comes under capital account. We have this share capital, the reserves and surplus, retained earnings. I hope all of you remember what are retained earnings, right? Retained earnings are the leftover profits which are reinvested. These are profits which are reinvested in our organization, right? Then we have loans, bank overdraft, secured loans, unsecured loans, current liabilities. Current liabilities, we have duties and taxes, processions, sundry creditors, which are short-term in nature. So this is basically a long-term thing, and this is again long-term, and this is short-term. Then we have assets, fixed assets. This is all like, if I draw, this is the horizontal view of the balance sheet, right? Liabilities, assets, we have fixed assets, we have investments, we have current assets, right, and so on. And if I talk about the horizontal view, this is the horizontal view already, which I have told. If I talk about the vertical view of balance sheet, this vertical view is how it is shown in this detail. It's like balance sheet. We have the list of liabilities first, 1, 2, 3, and then we have assets. Both views are available in Tally. We can select and we will learn how to select the view. This is the horizontal view. This is the vertical view. First, all liabilities will be shown and then all assets will be shown, right? So current assets, bank, cash in account, cash in hand, deposits, loans and advances. These are all current assets. Then miscellaneous expenses, suspense accounts. Now, what are suspense accounts? Have you ever wondered why does it is suspense account? See, any account, any money, any transactions which we are all not aware of, that in which we should put, it is what actually related to, that is a suspense account, and we will discuss that in detail after in few classes. Now we have income, which I have already told you. Sales, direct income, indirect income. I've already drawn P&L account. Expenses, purchases, direct expenses, indirect expenses. If you all want, we can just have a quick view of the previous slide and we can see this I was talking about. P&L account, purchases come here, right? Purchases. Now they are saying purchases plus direct expenses and indirect expenses. But sometimes we regard purchases also as the direct expenses. So I didn't specify separately, but yes, we can say purchases, direct expenses, indirect expenses on debit side. Then sales we regard as again separate, plus direct incomes and indirect incomes. And yes, sales are related to day-to-day operations, so they are already the direct income, right? So this was the information on 4 things: expenses, incomes, assets and liabilities. Actually, we are just revising this. This is because we done ledgers. Now we should be aware कि ledgers किस groups में आएंगे. What are the main groups? What are the single groups? What are the multiple groups that we can create in Tally, right? So types of groups: single group, multiple group. Here the user can create only one group at a time, and multiple, the user can create more than one group at a time, right? Now I'm again repeating why we are learning this concept. We are learning because we should know that we have some pre-created groups. Under pre-created groups, what are the subgroups which we should have, which we are calling as ledgers, right? So primary groups are divided into subgroups, and subgroups is a collection of ledger accounts of related transactions, right? For example, answer that. Creation of ledgers. Now they are giving basically the example that create 2 ledgers, and it's a kind of assignment that creation of ledgers. Tally creates 2 ledger accounts automatically. They say that Tally already creates 2 ledgers automatically. What are the 2 ledgers that Tally creates automatically? Cash account and P&L account. They are automatic voucher entries. Recording of transactions will only be possible if it is related to these 2 accounts. So you have to create all other ledger accounts except these. So they are saying that Tally has already pre-created these 2 accounts. These 2 ledgers are pre-created in Tally, and if I have any transaction relating to cash, relating to profit and loss, I can just simply do without creating these 2 ledgers. These 2 ledgers are pre-created by Tally. The rest of the ledgers I have to create. Now, we already discussed everything: the groups pre-created, the ledgers we are going to create, the ledgers pre-created. We learned that there are 15 pre-created groups and 2 pre-created ledgers. These are the 2 pre-created ledgers: cash account and P&L account. Now, we are thorough with this ledger creation and groups, and we should be aware of what is the capital item, the revenue item, which comes under balance sheet, which affects P&L account. Now, we also need to maintain inventory also. And if I need to change any stock item, and I need to enter the details relating to stock item, for example, my company is maybe it's a restaurant and it deals in cooking foods, variety of foods, and I'm buying rice and I need to maintain the rice. I'm just giving a single example of my raw material. I'm buying rice in kgs and I need to specify all these basic details. Rice, the quantity measured, kgs, right? Everything. How much kgs I'm buying, how frequently I'm buying. So this is my stock info. And I need to create, display, or alter stock info. Where I can do this? I can do this. See, we are shown this complete chain. This is masters. Masters means the main company information which I am altering. Accounts info में हमने ledger creation किया था. इसमें हमने ledger creation किया था. Now we are talking about the stock information. So we will select inventory info. What is the keyboard shortcut key? Can anyone tell me? It is I. Right? As you can see, we are already on inventory info and I is already highlighted in red color. Right? This means I'm already on inventory info. And if I am not on inventory info, what should I do? I should use my arrow keys on keyboard. Right? So inventory info, then I have this second screen which opens as soon as I press enter inventory info. I have the stock groups and stock items. See, the keyboard shortcut is G, which is already highlighted in red. I need to create stock groups. Then the third page opens. And I'm again saying Tally is such a beautiful software that it keeps on telling me that which page is preceding what. I followed gateway of Tally, then I followed inventory info screen, then I have this stock group screen. Single stock group, create, and after creating, what opens? This pop-ups, this screen pop-ups. I'll just zoom in a little more. Now, stock group creation. I can put name, I can put the alias means, again, the abbreviation I need to put, right? And under which group it comes, right? For example, I'm talking about rice. So it is I'm getting 2-3 categories of rice, basmati rice. So I'm putting as shortcut abbreviation, I would say RB, under which group it is coming, food, right? Should quantities of items be added? I can select no or yes, whatever is my requirement. So this is single group creation screen. This is single group creation screen. I can have multiple groups. Now, when I need to use this multiple group screen, I need to use multiple group screen again when I have 2-3 types of rice, which comes under main category as rice. I can choose this. This is under my discretion. What I want as main group, what I want as sub-stock group. This is obviously on companies based items, company based stocks, companies requirements. Now, see, they are just giving you an example also. Fill the required details. As per our illustration, we will type maybe bed sheets under the name heading and press yes to save the group. Similarly, we will create other groups, namely blankets, napkins, towels, and press yes to save all the groups, right? So this is single stock. Now, if I need to change, I have created the stock group and I need to change the units in which I'm measuring. This is inventory info. This is units of measure. Stock creation, the stock group mein hua, I need to change the quantity. I need to change not the quantity, sorry. I need to change the unit. I need to maybe change or mention the units of measure. So I will go to this create third screen and then we have this pop-up. And as you can say in unit creation, it is titled as unit creation. Now type simple. We need a simple unit. The compounding is a little complicated things for different kinds of stocks. So generally we use simple. Then we use symbol. Symbol can be like if I was talking about kgs, formal name kilograms. Number of decimals. If I want that any value should be up to 0.2 decimal, I can choose this at 2, or I want 4, I can choose it as 4, depending what. And obviously we cannot have this, maybe if I want key jo kilograms, if suppose I'm saying 1.5 kilograms, so 0.5 means 500 grams, and if I want up to 1 decimal, so I can choose it as 1, and if I want the rounded figures only, I can choose it as 0. So again, it is the company's discretion what to choose. Now, this is how you can just quickly see again. Inventory info, units of measure, create units of measure, unit creation, type simple, symbol kg, formal name kilograms, and number of decimals up to 0 or 1, up again depending upon my choice, company's discretion. Now, this is giving me there's some simple example. As illustration, the units of measurement has been set to numbers, right? Now, this is the kg I took. Maybe suppose if I'm taking it as numbers, right? Because I'm having these blankets and napkins and towels or this land. Okay, there's a separate example. LAN card, toner, router. So LAN card is a stock item. It comes under stock group computers. So this is the example which we have to do in Tally. So this is the stock group which we need to create first, right? And these are the stock items. Obviously, first comes the creation of stock groups, and then we have stock items. And when we have stock items, we can have units of measure. It is possible that we do not have stock groups and we have only stock items. Stock groups are when we can classify 2 or more stock items under one group. For example, LAN card and router comes under one stock group, that is computer, right? So units that I have to use, it is numbers. Open quantity 1055, rate 9,500, 10,000 numbers. And then this is the amount. Let us see how we do in Tally. We have to follow this path. Gateway of Tally screen pay, we will go to inventory info, then we follow stock items. We will create single or multiple, right? We can choose. This is only single or multiple will not change our information. It is only for saving the time of the accountant. As per our illustration, there are multiple stock items and hence we can use the multiple stock items option. Here we will select all items under the group and find the rest of information and press yes to save stock items. Right? Just a second. Yes. Skipping. Yes. So just a second. I don't know why it's skipping 47. So this was all about stock creation, right? I thought there was a screen that was representing this in multiple and single groups. Yes. Okay, we will move to our next screen. I will just quickly wind up what we were discussing. Sorry for the glitch. Just a second, please. Yes. So I will just wrap this concept and then we'll move to voucher entry. We were given these stock groups and stock items. So since we have 2 groups to be created, so these will come under group creation. What is the group creation? We will go to stock groups, we will go to create, and we will create 2 groups, computer and printer, right? So 2 groups to be created, and then we will create stock items. We will select we can go to the multiple stock items also. We will select the stock group as computer, and under that computer, we will feed LAN card, we will feed router, and for the second stock group we have only toners and units of measure. Where it will be fed, we will go to create and then type simple symbol. We will put what we will put in symbols. We will put numbers here, right? What the formal name we will give? We will give it as numbers. We will write the full thing. Number of decimal places, we will put it as 0 because LAN cards, toners and routers cannot be in decimals, right? And then we will put the details. We'll press Y and we will save all the details. Now, the next is vouchers, right? Now, I will just brief it before ending up this class. We will start in the next class, but we should be knowing what are vouchers. See, I will just brief you what we did till now. We learn about ledgers. We learn about creation of new groups, right? And then we learned about stock groups and stock items and the units we need to put into, right? So first comes the groups, then comes the ledgers, and stock items are related to inventory. Now, first, when we are aware of all these things, parent groups, subgroups, which are also called as subgroups, are basically the ledgers, right? We have, I'm again revising, 15 predefined groups and 2 predefined ledgers of cash and P&L account. And we have learned about stock creation and the stock items and its changes, the units of measurement. After having a thorough input of all these things into Tally, we should know what are vouchers. Now, vouchers, see, this is what comes the difference between manual accounting versus computerized accounting. Here comes the difference between manual accounting and computerized accounting. In manual accounting, we have journal entries, right? Journal entries means all these entries pertaining to each and every transaction that can be recorded in money. Now, computerized accounting has voucher entries. That is, Tally has voucher entries, right? Now, what are voucher entries? We have different vouchers pre-created in Tally. We have payment voucher, we have contra voucher, we have receipt voucher, we have purchases voucher, we have journal voucher, we have sales voucher. We have 5-6 pre-created vouchers in Tally, right? And according to the nature of transaction, we will put those transactions into different voucher. Now, why we call it as voucher entry? What is voucher? Voucher is any evidence which can make any transaction a proof-based transaction, right? For example, I'm putting my cash into bank. So what will be the voucher? My paying slip, right? I'm depositing my cash into bank, right? So the slip which I fill in bank, that is a voucher. And since I'm just shifting my cash into the bank balance, no cash inflow and outflow is such there. It's just changing of type of cash from cash to bank, right? So that is a contra voucher, contra entry. There is increase of bank balance and decrease of cash, but ultimately our cash is same. The fund flow is not changing. There is no outflow or inflow of cash. So this was one example. So we have different transactions in our organization on day-to-day basis, and we have different vouchers, and according to the nature of transaction, we will put into these 5-6 vouchers, which is done only in Tally, not in manual accounting. In manual accounting, we say journal entries, and in computerized accounting, we say voucher entries. We'll just have a thorough reading on this. In manual accounting, the transactions are recorded through journal, and computerized is done through voucher entry. Voucher is a document which is needed to support a transaction. It is a proof for evidence for that transaction. Sales bill copy, checkbook slip, counterfoil, record slip, paying slip, pay register. These are all the examples of voucher, right? Now they have given certain similar examples. A withdraws cash worth rupees 10,000 from OD account, 30,000 from current account on same date from HDFC Bank. Although both are cash withdrawals from some bank and would be entered into separate vouchers, these are two separate sources of documents, right? Now we will discuss what are contra, what are payment vouchers in next class. That's all for today. If you have any doubts, you can just ask right now. Any doubts for today? No doubts? We can just put any doubts in the chat box if you want. Okay, so we will continue in the next session. Over to you, Sanjeev sir. I think the session is ended. So we'll meet in the next session. Thank you for today. Okay, there are certain yes. Hi, can you explain more on direct and indirect expenses? Okay, Shubhendu. Yes, definitely. I can explain more on direct and indirect expenses. See, direct expenses are the expenses which are related to day-to-day operations of the organization. Right. Now, what are the day-to-day operations which basically affect the sales, which basically affect the revenue, the income, the direct income of the company? For example, obviously the direct expense is the purchases, the raw materials, or I'm saying carriage inward. What is carriage inward? When I'm bringing raw materials to my company, I am spending on the transportation. That is called carriage inward. Since that transportation is for the purchase of my raw materials, and that raw materials will be part of final product and it will directly affect the sales of the company. So that carriage inward is my direct expense, right? And now if I say carriage outward is the transportation cost I am putting on my items which I am going to sell to the customers. Now that carriage outward is not a direct expense. That has to be borne by customers, right? That is obviously the company's choice that how do they take. But yes, carriage outward is an indirect expense because it is not directly related to the production or something which will affect the sales or the final product, right? So carriage outward is an indirect expense because it is like transporting goods to the customers. It is not affecting the final product. It is not affecting the day-to-day operations. And carriage inward is a indirect expense. This is the best example I can give. So indirect expenses, other examples can be the rent the company is paying on warehouse, the electricity, the power. And again, one more example I would like to say is like wages. Wages are I'm paying to labor. They are associated with the production, right? So wages is a direct expense. And when I'm paying salaries to staff, they are managing my staff work, the administration work. So that is an indirect expense, right? And can we put SKU number during the creation of inventory? See, if the tally this question is put by Praveen Singh. If the Tally software provides it, basically when I'm creating the inventory, the SKU number, see, Tally has very much upgraded, and in inventory details, we can put only those things which are there, right? The information they are talking about. But yes, SKU number, there is no provision right now for that in Tally, right? Only those details we can put which we are able to see on screen, right? And yes, if you want to just put certain numbers just to give like for the chartered accountant knowledge, we can definitely make discretions by putting in bracket, right? Just to recognize the inventory. That's it. All doubts cleared? All sorted? Okay. See, assets and liabilities we will discuss further in the next class, right? What are fictitious assets? What are preliminary expenses? What becomes the current asset? When we will do the presentation of this financial statements, we will discuss, because if I'll explain it right now, it will be like a little confusing. I need to explain you with all examples. But yes, we will continue this fictitious assets when we are doing the financial statements, because there are a lot of assets. We just gone through the overview. There are a lot of assets and liabilities which we need to talk about in detail, right? Okay, Mr. Mohit. So when we are going to just do the presentation of the financial statements, we will talk about this. All good to go? Anything else related to the current session? Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the next session.